Hi, my name is Rachael Miles, and this is my Data Citizens project for MAR36313. Beginning with the data source page here, this is where the Excel sheet was uploaded. As you can see, it's all about the types of beverages or how many beverages that people of different ages and relationship statuses and in different states, what they all enjoy. So as you can tell, if you scroll this way and this way to left and right, you can see all of that. And this is the data we'll be using throughout the whole entire project. So with that, the first step asked for a bar chart with the average age and the gender. So I did that with the rows and the columns, and I separated by color so it would be easier to recognize the difference between the two. And once you hover over one or the other, you can see the average age of each. Next, the map chart. This one is in regards to cold beverages per day and state. So with that, once I dragged it to color and label in detail, each option through the marks over here on the left, it created a map chart, and I liked having both the actual number of cold beverages per day and the average as well, just to see the difference between each state. So with this key over on the right, you can tell that the lighter the color, the lower the average, and the darker the color, the higher the average. So with that being said, it seems as if the lightest is in Florida, the fewest average cold beverages per day, and then Mississippi is the darkest with that, which is interesting. And with that, in continuation, this is the next one we had to make our own chart. So I chose this one because I'd never done this before. I've used Tableau before, but I've never done a circle Gantt bar type of graph like this. So I chose circles because I thought it was easier to differentiate and see the outliers, but also see the overlap here. So this one is in regards to age and relationship status. So as you can see, I noticed there was a lot of outliers when it comes to the older age up here. There were a few of 50s and 60s. There's a few widowed, a few one or the other. So there were a few outliers on the upper end and on the lower end as well, with the late, mid, early 30s. Sorry, excuse me. So with that, I noticed that married was the most populated right here in the middle between the late 30s and the late 40s. And then a little bit less than that was divorced, and then a little bit less than that was domestic relationship, and then single, and then widowed. So it was just interesting to see the difference between all of that. And with over here, I added a filter just to see, just to mess around with it a little bit. And you can move if we wanted to focus more on the age that I spoke about, where it was later 30s and later 40s, and see all of the action going on there, how much more there is than if we say we're up by the widow. There'd just be a lot less. So let's return that back to normal. And then this next one, I made the same thing. I just wanted to add another part to it. I thought gender was really important to take into account as well, because with the first graph I did two different colors, and I thought this might be interesting to see both sides. It wasn't in the directions, but I thought it was interesting. So with that, you can, over on the filter on the right, you can click and unclick. So that would just be the male that is showing right now. And then if I wanted to have the female show with it or the male show without it, it just is interesting to see where each gender stands with their relationship status as well, along with age. And you can see there's, more women on the older end right there. And if we were to move down, there would be a little bit more even, I feel as if. So that was just interesting to me. I just added that one in there. This one is our pie chart about beverage by average age, and I separated by color as well, so it was easier to see the slices. And once you hover over each one, you can see whether it be tap water, unflavored sparkling water, diet carbonated, flavored sparkling water, iced coffee, iced tea, sports drinks, or sugar carbonated, all around which age is the most average. So that was interesting. And then the dashboard, I only chose a few to focus on because I tried to put more in there and I didn't like how it looked, nor did it get my point across. But this one was really interesting. My circle Gantt graph. I really like that one, and the bar chart as well. So the whole point of a dashboard is to filter. And so what was interesting was that I added these filters on the side, and I'm able to unclick, click, just as I was if I were to add the filters on the individual pages themselves. So if I wanted to focus more on married and single, I could do that, as well as just focusing on maybe, let's say, iced coffee and tap water and sugar carbonated. And that would just minimize the slices available, and this would also focus more on solely married and single columns. And then even then, if I wanted to go further, I could focus more on a certain age group, the late 30s and late 40s. And then same with this other filter, if I were to do more towards the middle as well, that one would tell me that, okay, tap water is the best option there, the one that was in the data. So it was just interesting, this whole entire project. I really enjoyed it. I love Tableau. I think it's a really neat platform, and it's really cool that we're getting into it in the business field over at USF. So I think that's all that I had to cover. There's my little USF logo. And thank you so much for listening, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.